Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video. We'll go through some of the comments from yesterday's video, some of the things that have happened over the last 24 hours in Spain. And of course, here we are today with these magnificent views in the background again of the calming Atlantic Ocean. And of course, this fantastic overcast day that we have. And you're probably wondering why every day is overcast in this part of the world. It's not normally like this. I've been coming here for a long time and you normally get quite good summers here. But this year, of course, probably because of the coronavirus, I'm sure that the coronavirus is having an effect on the weather this year, and that's why we're getting these overcast days. And as I said, we have the calming ocean in the background, these calming waves, these waves that calm me down after I go through the comment section and read what people are saying. I really need to come here to calm down and relax, especially when people accuse me of deleting comments, when people constantly tell me that I need to wake up to the truth, when people point me towards one conspiracy theory and then towards another conspiracy theory, and then you realize that there are just so many different ideas and different theories out there, but you get a good idea of where some people are at the moment. People tell me that I need to go to this platform to watch this video, and I did today go to one of those platforms and I did watch a bit of one of those videos. I can't watch the whole videos because they are an absolute load of rubbish. When you start comparing what's going on in the world and what the police are doing with movies like RoboCop, I think there's a bit of a problem. And on the topic of deleting comments, I only delete comments when they become toxic, when they become insulting, when people start pushing the same negative agenda over and over and over again. That's when comments might get deleted. There is a chance that your comments go directly through to the spam section. If you mention certain words, if you put links for videos in there, they could go through the spam section. They might get held for review. And to be honest, I don't have time to go through those comments and check every one for review. So that's where they sit, and that's most likely where some of those comments end up. Now, we spoke yesterday about some of the restrictions in places like Madrid, the southern neighborhoods, and the fact that people are being asked to confine voluntarily. And apparently, according to some press, not a lot of people are heeding that advice. People are out and about doing what they normally do, not listening to what the authorities are saying. And a lot of people obviously feel that they're not going to stay at home if it's not going to be forced by law. And of course, that's one of the problems at the moment, that without the state of alarm, difficult for regional governments to force these laws. And as we saw in Madrid, the judge overturning the decision in Madrid to ban smoking and to close down nightlife venues. There's also another village in Madrid where people have been advised to stay at home, and according to one newspaper there, people in that town are following the advice to the letter. So a bit of a contrast between what's going on in the south of Madrid and in this small town. Of course, the population in those particular places is completely different. You've got the small town, which is called Tielmes, which is only 2,700 people. And of course, in Uceda, which is one of the neighborhoods in Madrid in question, there's 141,000 people in that particular neighborhood. So probably easier to convince 2,700 people to stay at home than it is 143,000. And just on a quick side note, I filmed a video in Tielmes a few months ago called The Pros and Cons of Moving to Spain. So if you want to see what that village is like, check out that video. Now, politics in Spain is starting to get nasty. Last week, the vice president of the government and his wife, who also happens to be a minister in that government, had to cut their holiday short in Asturias because of harassment from the local population. Apparently, there was a tweet sent out telling people where they were staying, and of course people thought it would be a good idea to start protesting, write threatening graffiti on the road leading up to the house, and other forms of abuse and harassment. And of course Mr. Iglesias is blaming the far-right party Vox and its supporters for this harassment, and the government's come out and said that they are going to step up the security measure in order to protect politicians more from this type of abuse. So things getting nasty there. But I think politicians, no matter what their ideas, should be able to get away for a couple of weeks and not have to deal with harassment from people that don't agree with them, especially when people are being stirred up on social media to go out in the street and stir up this type of trouble. I don't think there's a place for it in any country, to be honest, let alone Spain. And another piece of news that caught my attention today regarding the economy and how many companies have closed since March. Something like 90,000 companies have closed their doors in the last few months. A huge loss of companies in Spain, a huge loss of jobs, and the article also said that the worst is yet to come. So 90,000 companies, bang, gone because of the lockdown and the fact that they couldn't operate during that time, and it hasn't been worth it for them to open the doors and keep staff on in these tough economic times. Obviously, a lot of companies related to the tourist sector, probably a lot of companies related to hospitality, but 90,000 companies, a huge number to lose. So again, what's the economy going to look like come January? I don't know, but I'm predicting a pretty dire situation, because remember that a lot of companies are in that furlough scheme at the moment, a lot of workers in that furlough scheme, and of course, when that comes to an end, how many companies are going to be able to stay open? And there is talk that the furlough scheme is going to be extended in some sectors, but for how long, nobody knows. In Benidorm the other day, business owners took to the streets to complain about the situation down there, because remember that Benidorm has been one of the places hardest hit. They missed out on a lot of British tourism this year because of the quarantine restrictions, and the business owners in Benidorm saying that they need more help from the government if they are going to survive. It's not good news there. And of course, that's going to be a problem in other places in Spain, not just places like Benidorm. And on a lighter note, I mentioned the other day in one of the videos that there was an anti-mask, anti-COVID protest in Madrid a couple of weekends ago. And one of the main promoters of this protest was a Spanish singer called Miguel Bosé. Well, apparently his Twitter account has been suspended for the information that he has been spreading. Twitter obviously feel that he shouldn't be using his influence to spread information like that. And of course, that's been one of the main complaints of people. So Miguel Bosé joining a long list of people that have had their social media accounts, whether they be Twitter or YouTube, suspended or taken down because of the dubious information that they are spreading about the health crisis in the world at the moment. So there you go, Miguel Bosé off Twitter for the time being. And another piece of news that caught my attention is the fact that there's another virus present in Spain at the moment called the West Nile virus. Apparently a couple of people in Andalusia have died as a result of this virus. Apparently it's transmitted through mosquitoes. So if the coronavirus wasn't enough, now we have the West Nile virus also in Spain to deal with. You can see here this boat full of people going off to one of the islands to spend the day. And there's also talk about more restrictions possibly coming into place in Spain in the next few days. More restrictions in Catalonia. Madrid is also talking about closing access to parks. So the governments around Spain are getting stricter and stricter, because as we have seen, case numbers continue to rise, unfortunately. But as we have seen, it's not just in Spain where case numbers are increasing. They're also increasing now in other European countries as well. So Europe definitely struggling to get this situation under control. And I also read a comment from somebody in Colombia telling us what the situation is like there. A huge amount of cases, a huge amount of deaths, and very severe restrictions in that part of the world. And I believe it's also the case in countries like Peru as well, that just can't seem to get the health situation under control there either. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.